Today we are pleased to welcome Matthias Cramer, a prominent board game designer with such titles as Rococo and Watergate under his belt. Today we're going to discuss his new design, Lenin's Legacy, here on Legendary Tactics. So we'd like to welcome Matthias Cramer, and I hope I said that correctly,
Perfect.
designer of a game that I really like, which is Watergate. And we've invited him here today to introduce his new game, Lenin's Legacy. So
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you for having me.
Yes,
And hello to everybody.
all the way from Europe. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm sitting here in Essen, at least once a year, the capital of board games, and that's the
Yeah.
place where I live.
It's like it's like a place of legend, a pilgrimage for us if we can make it to Essen for the big game
Mm,
show there. So that's great.
yeah.
So yeah, so welcome to the channel. We're really excited to hear you explain more about your upcoming game because I know Watergate is a favorite of ours. We've played it many a time, and it's a lot of fun. And so, what was your difference with Lenin's Legacy? Because it's obviously inspired by Watergate.
It's a little bit inspired. So I was thinking about making a game that is even more brutal than Watergate is. And it was, I think, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something. There was a movie in the cinemas called Stalin's Death. I don't know if you watched that one, which is a kind of dramedy, I would say. So a mixture between comedy and drama about the passing of Stalin and then the fight for leadership of the KPDSU. And so this inspired me for this fight, which is, let's say, one generation earlier. So when Lenin passed, and Stalin and Trotsky were fighting for power, which is, I think, even more famous because people know all three of these guys. Yeah.
And so it was inspired by that movie. I didn't see that movie, but I heard about it and I heard it was quite a chaotic. It's fun, but just chaos, you know. So because there's a lot of
It's
scrambling for
Yeah, it's very
power.
it's a very good movie. So if you ever have the chance, watch it. And it's also hard for me to describe in English now, but it's not looking on these people as statesmen. It's more looking on these people as criminals.
Mm,
So they are usual criminals, but they have a whole state and a whole superpower at that time in their hands. And this is the way the movie touches that topic.
yeah.
It's very interesting and also very funny at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Now, how do you go about is this a normal process for you? Just you get inspired by something you see, and that ends up in a board game. Did you watch All the President's Men and then decide you wanted a game on Watergate, or how does that
Uh,
work? What
and not
inspires
in,
you?
not in that case. It's for me in the design process is very different. Normally, when I start with the game, there are mostly more than one, let's say, approach I am taking. So for Lenin's Legacy, there were first that movie, but also I had initially the idea to combine the card-driven game with the trick-taking game.
Hmm.
So that was the first prototype, but this was a complete disaster. So it didn't work at all, and after one test, I took the whole prototype and put it in the trash. Yeah,
Oh, wow. But there was enough there that you wanted to keep working on it. There's enough
um,
of a good idea.
the theme survived. Yeah,
Yeah.
so some months later, I made a completely new game, which is also was quite different from where the game now is, but. For me, it's quite typical. I'm throwing a lot of things away, and when my wife is coming in the afternoon from work, she sometimes she looks into my trash and see so how much things I threw away today. Yeah.
So she knows this, if it's been a productive day by how much is in the trash, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you worked a lot today.
Really.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And so, well, perhaps you could share your screen. I know you've been working on the tabletop simulator mod.
Mm,
Now, my initial impressions when I saw this game, because I had a chance to play this at Circle DC, and Joe Dewhurst, who I believe is your um, he's part of the production process. I don't know what role he has, but he taught us how to play, and it was very quick to learn. I was very pleased. There was a few questions we had to ask him, but other than that, he basically explained it all in about 5 minutes or less. And so it was a very intuitive game.
yeah,
So perhaps.
Joe's the developer,
Oh, he's the developer. Okay,
he's doing a very good job. Yeah.
excellent. And so, first of all, what's the history that you're looking to represent with this game? Let's give our viewers an idea.
Yeah. So uh, this game does not have an exact start point, but it's starting in the early 20s. So it's 21, 22, round about this. Um, and it is becoming clear that the health situation of Lenin is decreasing drastically. And so this is also the point where the fight between Stalin and Trotsky is starting. So at this time, Trotsky is the leader of the Red Army, and they are still the last battles of the Russian Civil War, and Stalin is more orientated to the party and more active in Moscow. And so this is where the power struggle starts. And through the game, Lenin's health will decrease and decrease. And if the game is coming to the natural end, so to say, so that means Lenin dies in the end. So this is the period of time where the game is taking place. Actually, I can show you the key elements of the game,
Yeah, please
so
do.
that you get a basic idea. I will not explain every detailed rule, just to give the people an overview and an idea how Lenin's legacy is playing. So actually, there's one big difference to Watergate. So we have two tracks instead of one. And the one track you see here, the round markers, this is covering the issues that you, for example, also know from other games with the track. And you see here the three square markers. These are the victory conditions, and since there are three markers, so you see that there are three of them. So two are sudden death. I can show you here. This is,
Sure.
for example, control of the army. And in this example, so if Trotsky controls the army, he has the possibility to earn medals in the game. And as soon as someone has three medals, this will end the game immediately, and that player wins. Exactly, yeah. So this is control of the party. So if any player controls the party by 5, that player immediately wins the game. So these are the two sudden death cases, and the game is developed in a way that you cannot ignore them. You cannot just say, "Okay, I'm concentrating on the party. I don't care about the army, and let's go." In this case, you will lose most of the sessions. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and that's
third
a
one,
that's a tricky thing with sudden death, can because otherwise people will try and take advantage of it if they can. But if you balanced it right, then they're not able to. And I felt in the game that we played, we couldn't. even if we wanted to, we couldn't really focus on one or the other. So.
Exactly, yeah. And the third marker is fame. So this is something like victory points. And so if there is no sudden death and the game is going until Lenin dies, the person on whose side that victory point marker is will win the game. We are playing with this card row here of 7 cards. That's just the draw pile here. And what is very special is both players will pick from that row. So it's a kind of drafting. And but 2 of the cards are flipped. So Stalin is allowed to look on that card. Lenin is Trotsky is allowed to look on this one. So there's always one card you don't know, but you're allowed to play that card. So Stalin can just say, "I will pick that card," but well, it's a black box for him, of course.
Yes.
So when you play a card, so you just, for example, you select to play this card here.
Yep.
So you have 2 possibilities. You can either take the values, which is simply here moving the blue issue 4 spaces and another issue 1 space. So just, for example, do something like this here.
Yep.
Or the other possibility simply to take the event like in many other CDGs. And as you see here, some cards are even removed from the game if the event is taken. So we have just 19 cards in the beginning, and around about the half can be destructed by taking the event. But there are also cards coming into the game. So deck building and deck destruction is a very important mechanism in this game. It's even more important than it was in Watergate.
Now, was there a particular uh, goal? Like, is that mechanic representing any aspect of the history, or is it, as far as the story of this particular event or series of events?
It what it represents, it's of course both characters have politicians allied with them, so on their side. So these are here the 7 politicians for Stalin and 5 for Trotsky. If you bring them into the game, they have an event that is only available for your own side, and but the other player can play the value of the card, so to deny the card for you.
Yeah, so the deck is it's a shared kind of your deck building, but it's a shared deck, and
Exactly, yeah.
you can skew the deck your way, but
Yeah.
the other player can still take advantage of and neutralize your events,
Actually,
that you add in.
yeah, actually you're implementing threats into the deck. Because
Yes.
if there are 3 cards that are very beneficial for you, your opponent, if it's his turn, he can deny 1, but then you're playing any of the other 2.
Yes. So it's
And
important to get those cards, and those cards, for a lot of them, the politicians and so forth, they do stay in the deck. So it's an ever-present threat for the rest of the game, essentially, right?
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah. So you're with that aspect, it's like you're recruiting politicians to your side who
Exactly,
are,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Now you also have some location cards that you can add to the deck. What do those represent? What is that? How does
yeah.
that work?
There are 9 locations in the game, so there are 9 location cards on each side. And if you win here the region issue, then you pick one location. Just for example, I pick Tsaritsyn, which is the former name of Stalingrad. And then in that case, the other side has to remove that card. So that simply means you won that region, you have influence in that area, and the other player cannot get it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And also for this, you have powerful effects here, mostly because the normal cards are just allowing you, in most cases, to move that issue markers. So the round symbols here show which issues you might move. But there are very rare effects for moving directly these victory conditions. So you either can win a certain issue for moving the army or the party, for example, or you bring in your region cards that
Mm-hmm.
allow you to move these things. And same for the politicians. So the other player can deny that card by playing the value. But if there are too many threats, you can of course, then fulfill your goal. Yeah.
Yeah, great. And what are the issues there? I know we touched on the powers, but what are the issues, the different issues? What do the symbols mean there?
Yeah, this is the NKVD. So whoever controls that issue can move another issue by one space. So it's the last movement on that issue track, and can move the army for one step. Then we have
Yes.
the Politburo, which allows you to bring one politician. We have the region, which allows you to bring one location. We have the initiative, which is quite important because, as you see, we have 7 cards here, and the player with the initiative starts. So that means plays 1 card more than
Yes.
his opponent.
That's similar to Watergate, that aspect.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. And then Lenin can move the party for one space, and the player is getting the Niet marker. So to any action your opponent is doing, you can simply say, no, you're not doing this now. Please do something else.
Yeah. So in other words, if I try to take an event from the card row and play it, you can say "niet" and block it, and I can still do something with that card, but it can't be the event. I have to take the
Exactly, yeah.
the values on the for the issues track. And there's
Or play
also
another card, yeah.
yep.
Exactly,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, and play or sorry, play another card. Yeah. And you've also got some. You also have a da as well.
That one here, yeah. So you can get this by card effect, where you can cancel the Niet directly. Yeah.
Yes. And the other one, like the ×2 and the +1 and so forth, those are ways to boost the card benefits that you can get.
Exactly, exactly, yeah. But
Yeah.
you can get these only by cards, and of course there are some cards that can counter these markers, yeah, because these markers are quite powerful, yeah.
Yeah. And then you also have a neat mechanic in here where Lenin gradually his health gets worse and that um, affects the decks right there. Yes. So you have
Exactly, yeah. So this is the card which is mixed into the deck after the first turn, and it's a scoring mechanic for the fame, and in the same time, it is the progress of the game. So if the stroke is happening, then we mix in he cannot speak, and if that one is happening, we are mixing in Lenin's death, and if that card is coming, then Lenny will die and the game will end. Yeah.
yeah. No, it's so neat because it definitely adds that unpredictable game end without being clunky. I think it's and you get a sense of the progression of things, and you don't know exactly when the game will end, but you know that it's as soon as the Lenin's death card gets mixed in, that you're in the end game, and
Mm.
you have to make sure you're ahead. And so
I've
aside, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So during testing, I've seen a lot of also crazy games. So games that are just lasting for turns because the card was also always coming very early. But I also saw very long games which were 9 or 10 turns, something like this. Yeah. So this can also happen. But I think it's quite good for the game because it can be very different outcomes and very different areas where we're gonna fight. So, for example, if I were able to place a lot of regions into the game, so and I can get the effects of the regions quite often. That means
Yeah.
also that you, as my opponent, will be able to win issues because I'm busy with moving the victory point markers, and so that I can also allow you to return in that power struggle and also win these issues and get your advantages. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I played with the other my new YouTube friend Zilla Blitz, and there was one turn where I can't remember why exactly. I think I just had a lot of good cards, and I focused more on the powers side of things. And of course, he went all in on the issues, and he was getting all the issue, which just felt, felt like I was really making a big mistake because
Mm,
you feel like if you begin to lose control of one track or the other, you feel like you have to address it and you have to
mm.
do it whatever you can to bring it back into balance. So it almost has a natural balancing mechanism there.
Yeah, if you lose the issues 0 to 5, then you have a really issue. Yeah. So in the game, yeah,
Yeah.
because that's tremendous. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were you familiar with this history before you started the game, or was this a good excuse to learn more about it?
I'm rarely familiar with the issues because that's for me it's a part of the process. So I start reading something because I'm interested, and then the game develops, and so it's the same step for me a little bit. Reading for a game and reading just for my pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the most interesting aspect of this particular part of history that you learned? What was surprising or what was most interesting to you?
There's one fun fact which is very interesting because there is somewhere on the internet you can find a graphic of the life dates of the Soviet politicians. So all these guys, no matter if they are on the Stalin or the Trotsky pile, and if you look on that graphic, so you see the years of birth, and of course they're all completely different. And the year of death is for all except one. It's the same. It's the year 1938. So it's one cut,
Oh man, that
and
was one
there's
of
no
Stalin's purges, I guess.
exactly, and there's no difference if they were initially Stalin followers or Trotsky's followers.
Wow.
They all died,
Wow.
even before Trotsky himself.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
And what do you hope that gamers, what do you hope that they take away from your game? Is there any particular history or any particular idea that you want them to take from the game?
I'm also trying to create, let's say, for me, it's a little bit of de-glorification of that leaders. So because if you look on the history, so Stalin was a robber before, simply, and so he was a criminal before the so-called revolution, and he was a criminal after that revolution. And Trotsky wasn't that much better. So I think also it's for me it's a deglorification of that period because especially in let's say more left orientated parts of the society, these names are still glorified, and
Hmm.
I think there is no reason why.
Yeah, and towards the end of Lenin's death, my understanding is that he disavowed the communist party and he ranted against what had gone on since the revolution. I don't think it ended up the way he wanted it to.
Mm. Yeah, there's a testament, so kind of last will which also clearly states that Stalin is not the right person to follow him, but they completely suppressed this after Lenin's death. Yeah. So
Yeah.
at that time, for example, it was very important. So Stalin, in real history, Stalin managed at Lenin's death to be in Moscow and to hold the hand of his widow and to walk directly behind his sarcophagus. And so this is the symbolism and so on was very important also in that time. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So what's the
And
production schedule
yeah.
on this
And
game? What's the Oh, sorry, go ahead.
one last thing, yeah,
Yeah.
was the picture you see here is one of the first picture manipulations. So this is, of course, not photoshopped at that time, but I think they partially painted it and did a montage. So Stalin is not bigger than Lenin was. And also, if you look on the photo very closely, you don't see his. He has a pox in his youth, and you see also the pox scurf. So I don't know the word in English. Sorry.
Yes, no,
Yeah.
that's yeah. Huh. Wow. So, and where did you find all the photos and everything? Was it hard to find the photos, or are they all, because some of them might be still hard to find because of
Yeah.
various
Mm. This is
regimes
just
destroying them.
yeah, this is just the illustrations and everything from the prototype. So this is just Google image search.
Hmm.
Of course, the final game will look much better. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, good.
yeah.
And so, what's the production schedule look like? Like, what's the timeline before players can get their hands on this game? And
I don't know yet. So the game is in P500. Since 2 months only. So this is pretty new. And
Mhm.
as soon as the P500 is full, I think GMT will start the whole process.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously with your reputation as a designer, I'm sure it won't be long before that. At the time of this recording, you're at 439, so I think it's just a matter of a little bit more time.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. So this is going to be published with GMT, or
Mm.
that's the plan.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so but the prototype, the game is essentially done. Like you're happy with the gameplay. Is there
yeah,
much more
yeah.
to do other than the sort of the art stuff, or is it still in play testing?
Uh, we are currently still doing playtesting, but just to be sure that it is perfectly balanced. And also maybe there's one value going back and forth and so on, but these are just minor details. So
Yeah,
the whole game is ready, and we are just in the last meters of improvement.
yeah. Did it take a long time to come together, or was it pretty quick?
Um, it was pretty quick because I was at SD HisCon in last November,
Yeah.
so where I had the pleasure to meet Jean and Rachel and Jason, so the wonderful people from GMT, and I had the chance to play the game with them, and they immediately say they would like to make that, and so it was perfect.
Oh, great. Oh, that's excellent. Huh. And so is this the focus right now? Do you have any other designs in the works that you can share of something that's coming up that we can look forward to?
There are a lot of other designs because I started to do game design full time,
Oh, great.
and yeah, so I'm working currently working on a lot of projects. I'm currently doing a follow-up game for Lancaster, which is 13 years old already. So there are a lot of new aspects that I found through that design process. But this game is not ready yet, and I think it will take more than a year to be
Yeah,
completed. Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, there are also some other games. I did a game on the Middle East conflict, so the conflict between Israel and Egypt mainly,
Hmm.
which is of course quite difficult thematically due to the current situation there. But also, I hope will be published soon. Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah, so full-time designer. That's a lot of people's dream to to be able to do. That's great.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I was telling to myself, I don't want to be 70 one day and ask myself, why have you never tried it? So
yes,
I'm simply trying it, and if it turns out not to be the right decision, then I will take another path.
yes, yes. But I mean, as I said, you've got many great designs under your belt already, and that was on a part-time basis. So this will be really exciting to see what you come up with, going forward.
Yeah, it's an experiment, yeah.
Yeah.
Also for me, but so let's
Yeah.
see.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing about Lenin's legacy. We're all looking forward to this one. I know myself and Zilla Blitz. We really enjoyed our game at Circle DC. It was um, a really fun game and very easy to pick up and learn. And yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
So
thanks a
thank
lot for having me
yeah.
in your show.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we'll definitely we'd love to hear more about your upcoming designs, and let's make this an ongoing conversation together because I'd love to hear about the new stuff that you're working on.
Okay, yeah, I would love to. Okay.
Yeah.